In fact, our first question for you, if you'd like to chime in, is what is your favorite cheese? If you like cheese.
I absolutely fucking despise cheese. I'm a vegan, so I find it deeply immoral that anyone would purchase such a fucking insufferable animal product.
Oh, that's awkward.
That's okay. That's a-okay. I mean,
I'm
it's
eating
not for
cheese right
everybody,
now.
you know?
Damn.
But
That fucking triggers me. Then
Look at
fucking
this
put that cheese
dude.
to fuck.
sorry, it's my profile picture.
I'm from Wisconsin, bro.
bothering you.
Damn.
On the next, I think we should move on. What do you think about the war in Ukraine?
I'm like all for it. Yeah, let's fucking destroy it.
Next question.
Do you have any political beliefs you want to air to the folks on
our platform?
on the platform who are watching?
Yeah, sure. So I'm kind of like an anti-natalist. It's kind of the view that like you get to like involved in like offspring. And the reason for this is that because like the offspring that you're bringing into the world don't consent to come into the world. And I think that even though you like believe that they're gonna have like a decent experience in the world, and therefore that justifies them not consenting and being brought into the world, you're gonna have this kind of like standard for any other action. So for example, if you were to like have sex with someone without their consent, you could like theorize that maybe they'll get some enjoyment out of it, but if you don't ask them for it, that consent, it's never okay to do that.
All right, and we're live. Okay. With this very special episode on the Afraid of Hungry sister podcast to the one and only Cheese Talk. I'm your host, John Doe. And I have here with me Emerald Master 5. Say hello, Emerald.
What's going on?
And we have Roger out. For today, we couldn't get any of the other guys on. I feel like they're a little busy right now. It is Monday. It is 9 p.m. right now where I'm at. So, yeah, it's pretty late. We run these pretty late. I had a very busy day. How was y'all's days, actually?
Pretty busy as well. I didn't have like too many classes, but then I had to do the bus driving.
Oh, right, because you're a bus driver in your campus.
Yeah, training.
Yeah.
But
Right. But the plan is to be a bus driver. It's going good, right?
Yeah, I just did a few like lines around Dayton. It's actually kind of funny 'cause it's not just like the campus; it's the entire town of.
Right.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna like dox myself, but there's only one school that has a bus net. But
some process of elimination our audience has to do.
yeah,
Roger, how have you been?
Today specifically, extremely busy.
Oh shit, man!
Well,
especially with the.
I mean, you can see because I'm streaming it, but the audience can't really see. But I'm.
Oh yeah, you're designing a new. Was it Lego, right, or something like that?
No, it's projects for my e-design class.
Oh, got you.
But on top of that, I went to like the gym. I had all my classes today. Lot.
You had all your classes. Are you doing it where it's like all your classes one day, the next day is like free?
Pretty much, except for I do have classes every day. It's just
you just
Tuesday
have less
and
of
Thursday.
them. Yeah. You have less of them.
I just have physics on Tuesday, Thursday.
Got you.
Well, Roger, you may have had a busy day, but aren't you celebrating the fact that our glorious president decided to end the tariffs that he put into place yesterday?
Yes. We
Oh
almost
my
forgot
God.
the topic. The topic of today's discussion, we'll be discussing two things primarily. There's the whole debacle going on with what is it, the tariffs and fentanyl or some goofy stuff like that. And then we're gonna talk about then after that we're gonna talk about anarcho capitalism and why it's my favorite joke ideology of all time. But let's first start with Mexico real quick. What is going on?
So like, okay, from what I've gathered, basically what happened is the like Trump, for a variety of reasons, decided to repeal the tariffs. I think a lot of it's him backtracking because he didn't want to actually like cause all the effects that they'd bring in, and like the stock market went down a bit. Although you could spend it to see he did get some concessions where like Mexico and Canada did agree to like send some people to the border or whatever, but just stupid all the way around. It's like an artificial crisis, and it's just the most like obnoxious nonsense ever. And like I feel like it goes without saying the fucking stupidity of what Trump's doing. It's just like such like blatant pandering. And in this situation, like my personal opinion is like stand with Canada and Mexico, because otherwise he's like gonna keep on like trying to like do stuff like this. Although even though like objectively the Mexican government's right, I was talking earlier so how like slightly irritated I am with like Scheinbaum and Morena and all of them, just because like
who are these fellas?
Okay,
Scheinbaum,
I'll explain. This
Morena?
is where we got into like a discussion of Mexican history, which I'll try to like
Right. Yeah.
basically Scheinbaum's the current president. She's into this party called Morena, and I was just saying how it's like I was watching her speech and she was just like talking about it, like all the stuff she said was like on paper correct and on paper pushing back against Trump's like insane fucking stupidity. But it's all just like obviously just trying to like copy AMLO's like speaking patterns, and like AMLO, if you don't know, is like kind of honestly similar to a Mexican Trump, except for he's quote unquote left wing. Because like you just watching the whole thing and it was just like all like, yeah, I called up Mr. Trump. I called up Mr. Trump and I told him, you know, I'll stop the fentanyl, but you gotta stop the guns. And I said, you better stop the guns. Like the guns are the problem.
What does he mean by guns? I'm
basically
curious.
It is a real problem where it's like the guns from the U.S. are being supplied to the cartels.
Cartel, yes,
Just like how it is like, you know, arguably a problem that like drugs are being sent to the U.S. But it's like on both sides, just like how Trump's all like,
Oh, you cut out.
You
Hello?
lie.
You cut out.
You lie.
Emerald Master 5, are you here? Sorry,
He's being
folks.
silenced by the Mossad, dude.
We're sorry for the Israeli attack on.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We're
though.
sorry
Yeah,
for the
I was gonna
DDoS
say,
attack from
apologies
the
for that.
Mossad.
I was just saying, it's all just kind of like populist posturing, and just in the same way, like Trump's using the like drug crisis to be like, I told Mexico, no more drugs. Like the Mexican government's using all of the like guns coming over as like a, well, I called out Mr. Trump and I said 1 month's all I need because Mexico gets it done. It's just like this like stupid like populist posturing where it's like it like just like how the Trump uses like the guise of like the right and like conservatism just push stuff that benefits himself. I personally think Morena is doing the same thing in Mexico, although with some social reforms.
Yeah.
And this is like, and I was saying to Stone earlier, is I feel like Scheinbaum is kind of just like trying to continue what AMLO did. And I realized that Stone didn't know who AMLO was. So if you don't know, AMLO is like, there was the president before Scheinbaum.
Hold on. All right, wait just a sec. We're going to show visuals for the first time on the Freight of Hungary experience. So just bear with me. We're going to do a little thing right now. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Well, that's not it. Hold on, just wait just a sec. All right. Which is the one I want? I want to do this. Yes.
Still working.
All right, we're on. All right, this is this fella AMLO.
Oh, okay. AMLO. And he's all like on paper left wing and like kind of sort of left wing.
Yeah.
And it's like arguably Morena, which is the party, is very left wing for the people. But I personally think it's all just the same like Mexico City nonsense.
Right.
Like the same like kind of continue on the legacy of PRI. And I realized that Stone also didn't know what PRI was, which is like not like shame or whatever, but it's like which was the party, for those who don't know, that was in charge of like Mexico from like the 20s till the year 2000. Basically, it's like
And
a
it's,
pseudo one-party state.
Partido Revolucionario Institucional. So it's like
Yeah.
they're like the institutional revolution or something. Party.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And I
they
realized-
were started by who?
Elias, okay, this is where it ended up, where it's like I kind of like we gotta start from the beginning, because like there's a lot of stuff to go on, and it's like if you don't know
Yeah,
what pre is, it's kind of hard to explain how
Yeah.
Loren is like kind of doing the same like playbook, in my opinion. Okay, basically it all started with the Mexican Revolution. There was this guy called Porfirio Diaz, who was this army general. I'm not gonna go into the Reform War and Benito Juarez. That's all like, but basically what happened is he became president. He served for like 7 terms,
Right.
and he was just like kind of like a generic like modernizer in quotes, but like for very much for like the elites. So he like industrialized Mexico, but in such a way that only benefited him and his like group of like friends and landowners and all that.
for the cabal, essentially.
Cabal, kind of like like the upper class
For the rich
kinda. It's, like-
people. Yes.
yeah, kind of like the
many
landowners.
such cases. Many such cases.
And so the main issue is it left this whole like a bunch of these peasants who were just extremely poor. And another
Yeah.
thing is a lot of land was sold to foreign like companies. That became a big thing later, like the oil fields, a lot to sold the oil to foreign oil companies, and that became a whole thing later with Cardenas. But basically, though, it's a kind of like a very much like top-down focused economic development. And so
Yeah.
it creates all this major land issues where you have these like tenant farmers doing all the work who are like making very little money, and there's these calls for like land reform, just constant land reform in the background. So that's all kind of just like kind of on the sideline for now, though, because he's this like one-party dictator dude. But in I believe like 1910 or whatever,
Yeah.
there's another election. There's gonna be another election, and he like tells just some random journalist in the U.S. It's like, maybe I'm not gonna run for a 9th term, whatever it was. Again, I'm just kind of saying this from memory, so whatever. Okay, but okay, maybe I'm gonna run for a 9th term, whatever it was. And this gets picked up pretty quickly in Mexico, and there's this sudden buzz of like everyone's like, oh, who's gonna succeed Porfirio Diaz? Like, maybe I will. And people put their hat in the race, and that kind of spooks him a bit. So he's like, actually, I am going to be running for a 9th term, and then he wins a 9th term, and it was completely.
Wait, how long is a term in Mexico?
Modern day it's 6 years. I think before that was just 4 years. But I think it was
that's a lot. That's a lot of time, bro. It's like a whole ass monarchy. Yeah.
It was legitimately from like the 18 like.
Right.
Yeah, like for a second, where's like like from the 1870s.
Oh my god!
To
Until when?
Like
to
1911. Yeah. Basically, though, it's extremely rigged. And that's when the revolution finally breaks off. And the main guy who they're supporting is this guy called Francisco Madero. And he's like a reformer. He's kind of like a middle class ish, or advocates for like the middle class, for like not the aristocrats, but like
I like his beard.
He has a nice beard. Yeah,
he has a nice beard.
Nice
He looks like a nice guy. Look at his eyes. He's like a puppy. You know what I mean? It's like if you're begging for your life, that's the face you make. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he just
what a
wants
guy.
liberalization, reform, and so
who doesn't want that, right?
Yeah. And from 1911 to 1914, there's this big, long, like revolution. All these groups rise up against him. You know, like you got the big names, Pancho Villa, Zapata. You know, and they kick out Porfirio Diaz. But what we quickly find out is that the problems facing Mexico were really, 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 really big. And Francisco Madero was a lot better of a spokesperson than the actual president.
Oh,
and so
I see.
The reforms are not nearly as much as like people wanted, and he was kind of walking a tightrope between army officers, old guards, and aristocrats, and landowners, and the rural poor, and the urban poor, and this is his mess. Basically, a lot of groups start rising up again. Zapata starts rising up again. A little like Pancho Villa starts doing stuff again. And it seems like it's gonna be like just some like low intensity conflict.
Yo, quick question. I know. Like I'm getting a lot of my Mexican revolutionaries are a little confused. But what's the difference between Emilio Zapata y también ese cabrón que se llama what's his name? Pancho Villa. What's the difference between these guys?
Pancho
Sorry,
Villa was
I'm trying my best Spanish with this.
No, okay. Okay, Pancho Villa he's this guy. He was in the north of Mexico. He was like in this like kind of like Sonora, like Chihuahua area. He was like, and he was like a muleteer or like an arriero or whatever. So he had like this large network of people he kind of knew. Yeah. And he had this like giant, like kind of like a roaming army. He was like, I guess you could describe him as a warlord of sorts. He wasn't quite as principled, I'd say, as like Zapata and his stuff, but he was still like arguably had like reform-minded individual. And he was in the north. And then Zapata, you know,
he looks like what's his name? Well, they both kind of look like him now that I think about it. They were Nestor Makhno.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Let's check this out. This is not. So okay, where is on? It was like it's here though. It's like it was like unlike the.
Can we zoom in just a little bit?
It's not like it's like okay. It's called It was mostly centered around this province called Morelos, but he had like sway elsewhere. Anyway, though, it seems like it's going to be this low intensity conflict, right? Until Francisco Madero is kidnapped and killed by an army general called Victoriano Huerta, and
oh shit,
that turned everything into overdrive.
That guy looks like
everybody
a meanie,
hates
man.
This dude. Yeah, everybody hates this dude. And suddenly, Madero is back to being a figurehead, and now he's a martyr, and now everybody loves Madero, and he's like the symbol for kicking over this
they
guy.
named the political party after him, right? The modern political party?
What did they name after Madero?
Isn't that what they call it? Or is it Madera?
Oh, it's Morena. That's
Morena. That's what it... Okay,
I thought... Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's kind of like I'm sorry if I'm throwing names. I'm just trying to do this semi quickly. And he's I saw some interesting thing where someone said he's like the devil of the Mexican Revolution, to which all other are compared. And that's kind of like a good way of like describing him. He's like kind of like this.
He's like the Joseph Stalin, essentially.
Yeah, and not even necessarily that, because like I wasn't actually in power for very long, and he's more just like the bad guy. He's like the scapegoat. But what happens is
Stalin was a good guy.
So. Pancho Villa, Zapata, they go overdrive. And there's also these other guys. They're called the Constitutionalists, I guess. But it's led by this guy. He was the governor.
That sounds cringe as hell. The Constitutionalists?
Okay. He was. You'll see. They're important. So it was led by this guy. He was like the governor of, I forgot which province it was. But
he has a cool stash, though. He does.
He has a cool stash.
Check this shit out. He's like almost like Peter Kropotkin, the anarchist.
Not as cool, though. But Carranza gets a street named after him. He's like a liberally minded guy, kind of like Madero, but I think a bit more, in my opinion, a bit more like willing to do super shady stuff. Like you'll see later. What I mean, like yeah. Just like look at him, and he was backed up with they're called like the Three Kings of Sonora, or like the Sonora Triumph or whatever. It was Adolfo de la Huerta. He's the least important one. He's the only one who kind of gets out unscathed. He's there. He's a general.
What the hell? He looks like what's his name? Al Capone.
I guess he was the least.
Maybe in that photo.
Crazy. He kind of just like chilled out for a while after a power struggle.
All right.
Then there was Elias Calles, who will become very important later.
Okay.
This Elias Calles become very important later.
Yes.
And then the guy is the main guy below, like the second in command of Carranza, from what I remember, was this guy called Obregon. So those are all the three generals. So it's Carranza and it's three generals. And then so all of them, everybody converges on Mexico City to get rid of Huerta. Zapata's going there, Pancho Villa's going there, and then Carranza and his generals are going there. And so they all meet in Mexico City and have this thing called the Convention of Aguascalientes. And it's the famous one where it has the picture of Pancho Villa on the presidential throne, and then Zapata with just this like stare. And honestly, this stare is all you need to know about those two figures. It's like it's almost like Zapata kind of knew what was going to happen, and basically what happened is it's ostensibly a convention between Pancho Villa and Zapata, who are kind of like on similar-ish like sides, and Carranza and his guys on like what to do now. So it's okay. So now we got rid of Huerta. What do we do? And it's famous because of this picture. It's like all of them are in Mexico City. It's like this weird time of like change. It's like uncertainty. If you go to La Opera in Mexico City, there's still a bullet in the roof from when Pancho Villa shot it during this in 1914 at the
Oh shit!
Convention of
Really?
Aguardiente.
Like
And
in
it
celebration,
was-
right?
What?
In celebration.
In celebration, yeah. I shot the
Right,
roof.
right, yeah.
Different
Not like
accounts,
some weird,
whatever.
not some weird like counter coup.
No.
Okay.
So and it was kind of like like I says here, like the last attempt to create unity, and it doesn't really work. And basically, what happens is
Oh,
Carranza
wow.
is like he kind of supports them, but not really, and he very quickly turns their back on him. Very quickly, especially against Pancho Villa, makes it like goes this like brutal war and makes it seem like they're like traitors. So it turns
Oh,
into
shit.
very quickly. He wants to become the president, really, and it's
Yeah.
like him versus Pancho Villa and Zapata. And it just turns into this mess. There's like a bunch of weird little things like Woodrow Wilson trying to get Pancho Villa because Pancho Villa went it's crazy stuff. And he was like on paper Democratic and all this shit.
Is this by
But
the
it
same
was-
time as the Zimmerman telegram situation for World War One?
That was a little bit later. They did send it to
Oh,
this
okay.
guy. They sent it to this guy, and as you could tell, they're not
Oh.
really in a position to invade the United States.
Right, right.
So that's the reason yeah.
It's just what they
Okay.
want you to think.
So exactly. But so it's like it just goes on and on. It's pretty brutal. It's between the constitutionalists and the conventionalists, and then Zapata and his guys are like technically part of the conventionalists, but they're mostly just localized in Morelos. Like they're not really doing much, and everyone kind of likes Zapata. Like even the people are fine. He's like the most respected figure. Pancho Villa is like more powerful at first, but he kind of makes some like military blunders, and this guy starts kind of winning.
Yeah.
And then it just starts dying down. It becomes obvious that like the conventionalists are going to kind of win, and they sort of break up their unified front, and they start kind of fighting. It's like an on and off war at this point. Now, it seems like Carranza is going to unify the country under his command, but there's like a few things that kind of like start turning people against him. The first thing is he assassinates Zapata. Alleged.
Oh wow.
Oh well, like he had absolutely nothing to do with it, and it's so sad that it happened. But he definitely assassinates Zapata. It was like
So he covered it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like even though like it was like officially like oh my god who did it? It's like everybody knew who it was,
Right.
and that like wasn't enough to like bring him down because he still had the army on his side. But his generals, especially again Obregon, I have Kaya's here just for as well, started getting like a little anxious,
yeah.
and they were worried that he was gonna like do another Porfirio Diaz and like run for a bunch of terms in office, and he didn't. You know, to his credit, Carranza didn't, and instead, I think it was like the 1920 Mexican election, or I believe. Here's the before. It was like, okay, maybe not this one. I forgot what it was. It was like, okay, maybe it was one before. I gotta find like get the dates right, because he died in 1920. Maybe it was the one right before it. I don't know. Okay, basically, point is though, and Carranza nominates this political nobody that nobody's ever heard of instead of like basically him instead of him or the other generals. And Carranza's whole thing is, well, I want to have a civilian government. I want to like make it so like the generals aren't running stuff, which is potentially true. But Obregon and Calles and a lot of other people thought that he basically just wanted a puppet ruler so that he could rule in the shadows and not have to worry about.
Look at this man. Look at this scheming individual.
Mhm.
Look at this
And
rat.
honestly, say what you want. Maybe one
Wow.
or the other was true. None of the people who come are much better.
Oh.
Basically, though, they hold this whole thing called the Plan of Agua Prieta, and they rebel against
Ah.
Carranza, and then he dies. Carranza dies. I think he gets killed.
Damn.
But like I think he's
So
assassinated.
who do they want? Wait, so Carranza is the guy who did he had someone else run, but like he's gonna run from the shadows or some shit like that.
Yeah, kind of. That was like the whole idea. And so
Who
he got
is it?
couped, basically vice general.
Who is it?
Oh,
Alvaro Obregón.
Obregón
Is
is
that
the
the
one
guy?
who couped. He's the one who couped him. He was the general.
Oh, he was a general. Okay,
Yeah, and he couped him.
but
And
who's the
becomes
guy?
president
Who's the
of
guy who replaced Carranza? Was like
It was,
allegedly.
I forgot. I can't even find the name of him. He was the entire thing is important was that he was like a political nobody. That he could be.
Oh, okay,
manipulated
gotcha.
by.
Yeah.
So then this guy's in charge.
Okay.
And then there's some weird stuff that's happening in the 20s. Elias Calles is put in charge of like I forgot it was put in charge of some government ministry. There's the whole thing with like the Cristero Wars. He like picks a fight with the Catholics. It was this whole
Damn. He
horrible
went on a whole side
thing.
quest.
yeah. He went on like a
whole
side
ass
quest.
side quest. That's crazy. Yeah.
Mexico. It's like a whole. Okay, we can hear. Okay. God, just look at this.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. There's Carranza, Obregón. Okay.
So
So
this
after-
is the constitutionalist victory.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Technically, it wasn't immediately Obregón. Remember the Huerta guy I was mentioning earlier?
Oh yes, yes.
He was president for 182 days,
Okay.
or like provisional president, and it
And
was
then-
like
and then he was
he was
assassinated.
basically. He wasn't assassinated. He actually was the only one who really made it out. He basically
Oh.
became president for a bit, lost the power struggle, and just fucking dipped. And
Damn.
he's dead. And then Obregón
Wow.
gets in charge.
I think he's the
And
most
then-
noble one here.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. He saw us coming.
What is this? The Laborist Party. So there's liberal
It's-
constitutionalists, which is like the one that Carranza made, right?
These are fake parties. They're not real parties until pretty, which
Oh.
is this. So, okay, basically what happens is this. So, he does this thing, he runs for 4 years.
Yeah.
Then Calles becomes president. He's like the second-hand man to like Obregón, and now he's the president. He does his usual stuff.
Yeah.
Keeps on doing like the whole
Yeah.
like Cristero Wars and all that.
Dude.
He's on bad terms with the
what's-
U.S. It's
what's up
weird
with-
as fuck.
What the hell? This guy's insane.
He's
almost
very
like
much
a-
of a,
he's almost
very
like a
much
terrorist.
dictator. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's just a very autocratic person.
So he's like
Pancho
he's
Villa.
he's like the Putin
That's a
of
terrorist.
Mexico essentially at this time, right?
A little bit, I suppose. not
Except he
quite.
doesn't want to like intervene like Guatemala or some shit like that. You know, he's not trying to
Yeah.
invade or do a
I mean, he was
special
pretty-
military operation in Guatemala.
He was pretty hands-on, but he'll
Okay,
become
okay.
very important with it. Basically,
Right.
what happens for the next presidential election in 1928, Obregón runs again. Because the whole thing at this point is like after Porfirio Diaz, it's like, okay, you cannot serve terms consecutively. You can't be the president twice in a row. But there's nothing against
Oh, interesting.
serving non-consecutive terms. So Obregón comes back and is like, I'm gonna run. And like Calles, I think Calles is kind
So
of
they're like
annoyed,
buddy
but
buddy
it's like,
essentially, right?
yeah, but he's like, okay, whatever, it's whatever. And then Obregón gets assassinated,
Oh.
and that throws a whole wrench in everything.
Why was he assassinated? By
I think it was
Calles,
just because
or-
all the stuff he was doing. I think it was like actually a random person. Like it wasn't like some. It was
Like the guy killed like William McKinley, just some random.
I think it was because of the Cristero Wars. Yeah. It was,
Okay,
yeah. It's
okay.
like, it wasn't like for no
insane.
reason. It
Wait,
was a
wait,
random
wait. Hold
guy.
on. Wait, click on Cristero War.
Oh, it was a whole mess. Like a lot of the
No,
early.
no.
actually
Look at the
Mexican immigrants-
belligerents.
Oh yeah.
no,
it's-
no. There's. Oh my god! I swear, if you there's a moment where you could go on Wikipedia and it said the KKK actually fought against the Cristeros.
Oh, because they're Catholics.
Yeah, something like that. I
God.
saw. I actually saw it. It was one of the funniest like things I've ever
They
seen in
used
my
to be
entire
love.
life.
I had a dream that there was an evil version of the KKK.
Okay.
Okay.
But so that's what happens, and then he gets okay. Anyway, though, Calles has a new strategy. So he's like,
What is his
"Oh, man,
Maximato?
we need to
What is this?"
Stop the violence. What?
It's Maximato. It's the area of his
yo.
presidency.
You'll see. Not his presidency, because this whole thing is we need to stop this violence.
Okay.
And so he makes his party called the Partido Nacional Revolucionario. It's like the successor to PRI. It's the PNR. And it's like, notice all of the actual figures of the revolution are basically dead. Carranza, Madero, Zapata, Pancho Villa, even Obregon, like they're all dead. So he's basically just rewriting everything and consolidating the entire revolution under his party. So he's the party of the revolution.
So he's like Stalin. He's
Kind
like,
of,
oh
but it's
yeah,
not
I'm
like-
the revolution. It all started with
The
me.
October Revolution?
Yes, but it's not the same. Okay, it's different though, because it's not the same cult of. It is, and I don't like nitpick because this is an important difference. It's
Okay,
not like this
okay.
cult of personality or this like Leninist vanguard, like the party must rule. It's not even like the Kuomintang. It's not even like Chiang Kai-shek, where it's like we need tutelage. It's literally just like rewriting history to be like, yeah, there's the revolution and the bad guys, and the revolution is the party, and this party was with the good guys, and ignore all of this fighting that was going on, and just have this clique of like political appointees. Because it's like the whole thing is they want to avoid the Porfiriato again, so he can't keep on ruling forever. Like they like after.
So he
Obregon's
has his
assassination-
shadow people. He has his or he has his puppets
Yes,
essentially.
because at this point, presidents running in Mexico for 2 terms is like strictly off limits.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest no. So instead, he founds PRI and has these 3 presidents in a row who are just complete puppets of him.
Why were 2 of
Complete
them not
puppets
even
of him.
elected?
Yeah, they're like a point. Yeah, it is. He resigned due to intervention of Kai. Complete nonsense. But one person manages to break it up, kind of, and he's one of the good Mexican presidents, I'd say, Cardenas. He was like, I'd say,
he's the guy from
the
Hoi
last good
4.
Mexican president.
He's the guy from Hoi 4.
Oh yeah, he's the guy from Hoi 4. He made Pemex, which I mean,
yes. What is that?
you're
What's
from
Pemex?
it's the Mexican National Oil Company, which I mean, like, on the one
Oh,
hand, it's
yeah.
like, at the time it was a good
Invade
idea.
Oh, the US
what?
didn't invade for that?
I know it was a whole thing.
No, there was a whole thing. They
it's
tried
kind
to
of massively corrupt now, but
they
or at least
wanted
it
to
was
take their
for-
oil from them. That was a whole issue
Yeah.
in the yeah.
Yeah, because Porfirio Diaz sold all the oil. Anyway, so he does the oil thing. It's popular first. It's super corrupt because, as you're gonna see, the party Cardenas is not enough to break up what PRI became. He was initially appointed by Calles to like kind of be the same thing, like a de facto puppet, but he actually bucks off Calles. Like he actually like kind of breaks the
breaks a
chains of-
cycle, right?
Yeah, and he exiles Calles in the country. It's actually fairly impressive. He actually managed to do it. He becomes very popular, introduces some real reforms, but the institutional stuff that Calles left behind is still in place. And so rather than PRI changes, it becomes PRI, like the actual name. And it kind of changes from the personal puppet regime of Calles to this just shiftier like group of just political like a political class. Like PRI becomes the Mexican government. It becomes everything around which the government is built, and it just becomes like this inner party like weird shadow
Right.
regime.
Yeah.
And even though Cardenas kind of tries to stop that, he kind of finds that at this point that he almost inadvertently, like, by not like breaking any of the conventions and just getting rid of the person at the top, which was Calles, and by like stepping down afterwards, which you could say is a good thing. He didn't want to become like continue the tradition of like just like running forever and appointing that successors. But what he effectively did by accident is decapitate the party while giving it a sense of like institutional legitimacy. And so instead, it very quickly just grew to something beyond any single person's control and turned into this enveloping force around Mexican politics. And you can see that immediately with the next guy, Camacho. I wouldn't say he was horrible. He was like fine, but he was far less reform-minded than Cardenas. And he basically put the brakes on the PRI stuff. And this is the first thing on the revolutionary kind of quote stuff. And this is where you can kind of see one of the most interesting facets of PRI. their like chameleonism, and not in the same way as like Italian politics where it's like individual like people and yada yada making fake parties. It's all around this one party, but just the party shifts to whatever's like necessary to appease the people. Because as you see, obviously it was founded under this very like revolutionary yada yada thing, and even the Cardenas is very like left wing pseudo socialist thing. But then when like the post-war order, U.S. right there, very quickly shifts to this much more like welcoming, like kind of like business-friendly approach.
Yeah.
And then this guy, he's the first civilian president.
He looks like a weasel.
Oh man,
Look at him.
So on paper, it's very good. First civilian president.
Yeah, first civilian president. Yeah.
But I'd say he exemplifies the baptism of as Mexican politics. Like it has transitioned from like the military like kind of the instability to just an institutional force. And I'd say he is he's the first like pretty man, like for straight out of fucking DF, like Mexico City, cream of the crop. And it's all downhill from here.
Okay, yeah.
And it's just all of this like systematic corruption nonsense, all for the people in Mexico City. Take the money, spend the rest, fucking embezzle Pemex. Nonsense. You get some like all right people. This guy's like all right. He's like kind of like a left wing guy. Again, he's doing the same thing Pre does. He's bringing it back. He's yada yada yada, and he's all like student activism of the reforms and yada yada. But he doesn't do anything to change the political system, and again, inadvertently gives it more legitimacy. There's like a little bit of a wake up call with Ordaz. He's like one of the more infamous ones. He is like a very, very kind of more right wing. His most like infamous action would be his massacre of student protesters in the Mexican Olympics.
Oh shit!
Where if you don't know about that, it's the movie Rome based on. It's kind of famous, but it's basically in the wake of the Mexican Olympics.
They deserve it.
The Mexico. Shut the fuck up. Thank you, Roger. He's in Play 4 also. Yeah. He's in TNO. Roger out. This is the guy.
Oh, is he now? He's
in the new bad guy? This is the bad guy, isn't it?
Yeah,
oh,
it's the bad guy. But basically,
wait, you said he was a good president?
No, this guy's not.
No. I just asked if the protesters deserved it.
No, this is like one of the worst ones. One of the worst ones. This one I despise more, but he's probably the most like objectively evil, I guess, outside of like like going back to the revolution. And his whole thing is there's the Mexico City Olympics and there's a bunch of these giant protests, and he called in the army and they shot a bunch of protesters, and then they just cleaned it up all in time for the Olympics. And that's honestly a perfect encapsulation of Mexican politics at this time. Just complete disregard for everyday people and just a one-party state, really. It was just all decided up in the upper echelons of Mexico City. And then it gets bad, and then I fucking hate this motherfucker. This guy is
my god!
You
look at this guy.
Bigottati. Yeah, he is like the perfect exemplification of just like the corruption and like.
Damn, bro, you can't trust this guy.
No,
who can trust this guy?
You could go into so much stuff about him. This is when it gets like just like the criminal, like this is the rise of the cartels. This is like assassinations.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a whole thing with like I can't even begin going into like the 1994 election and all of that. It's when like the vote rigging becomes open and blatant. It becomes, and this is like the 80s. This is like really fucking recently, and it becomes like the lowest morale point, I think. And it's off like the Mexican miracle that was kind of propping up these guys was kind of gone in some ways. Like it was waning, and it was just a mess. It was so bad. He was just the most corrupt of the corrupt. Again, I can go more 1994, the whole assassination in Tijuana of the lead political rival. It was just entrenched like bureaucracy. And this is like relatives are talking about. It's like how like my family from Mexico was like at this point it's like they didn't even like vote anymore. Cause it's like nobody like did, because they knew what was gonna happen. There was no way that these people weren't going to win the election again and again and again. And at this point, they've been in charge since the 1920s. This is 1988. Then it's like it really did leave an infamous mark. And after him, there's this whole nonsense with the 1994 election. You can like, it was fucking crazy. Again, the assassination of Colosio is like a whole thing. But this guy wins allegedly under major voter fraud. And it kind of marks the end of their... It was like a really sloppy thing even for them. Like, it was at a point where Pre wasn't even able to really mask their corruption anymore, and it just got extreme. It got out of control. It turned into a mess. The Zapatistas were rising up. There was, like, the whole NAFTA thing was going on. It was, like, dirt. Like, it was pretty bad. It was, like... Yeah. And basically what happened is they weren't able to hold on. And in 2000... let's see. Presidents of... Wait, I said that out loud. Okay. And this guy called Vicente Fox gets in charge. He's part of this new party called PAN. It was around for a while. It was doing stuff, but it was never whatever. Never got into power because Pre was one party state. And he was like, he got rid of Pre. He was like he got rid of them. The first person from an opposition party since Madero. It's like jubilation. But he was just kind of, he just like didn't really. He just kind of fucked it up. I mean, no, granted, there were some like things he probably was out of control, like the Senate and
and we could see Pre comes back.
Oh, this is a whole thing. It's yeah, no, okay.
Damn.
Okay, but they controlled the Congress, they controlled all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was still hard for Pond to do anything, but he was just like kind of like, I don't know too much about him, but like yeah, I always saw him as like the Mexican equivalent of like George Bush a little bit.
Okay.
Like neoliberal, like he just wasn't very inspiring. He won, but he won.
Well, more like Bill Clinton, I guess, right? If he's like I'm the new.
Not really.
No, dude, George Bush, bro. What are you talking about?
No, yeah, because he
George Bush
wasn't
was
really
like the
left-wing.
president even before 9/11.
Yeah, he wasn't really like a. He was a pretty like it says like he kind of has like a right-wing populist kind of. And he only really,
I love how Trump is the picture for that.
Oh, I know. But like not even like Trump. It was more like the old like kind of like
but like hover over right wing populist.
I know.
Damn.
But yeah, it's like it wasn't even like the Trump style. It was like again like that like very much like early 2000s like neoliberal like fucking like this is what's right and this is what it was just like kind of
lower. Is it like right wing populism in the sense of libertarianism?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to pin down. It operates on different axes just because this political situation is kind of different. But it's like he kind of just. He did very little with a very big occasion and just did not nearly enough and just kind of let the country slip away. And then Calderon gets in charge and oh man, he just fucks up. This is when the cartels become a really big issue and he is just flip-flopping all over the place. He goes all in on the cartel. He's sending the army in, but he's not really like doesn't really want to commit to like actually like doing some like he doesn't actually want to go all the way and he's like wants to stop corruption but like there's like more corruption. It's like it turns into a mess. This is like the scenes you see where it's like the army is fighting the cartels and the cartels are winning, like where it's like they like take hostages and like take over cities and then Calderon's like he can't really do much but he's not willing to do any like so it just turns. This is when it like gets really bad with the cartels basically and he's just kind of it's a mess. This is like the declaration of war against the drug cartels only 10 days after taking and it's like this is actually like a very good like this whole declaration of war thing was a pretty like defining mark of it because like he ostensibly did it to gain political support. Like I think he thought it'd just be like this thing where it's like, yeah, we're declaring war against the drug cartels. Like we're on war. But like he didn't actually want to declare war, really. He was just doing it for support, and then the cartels actually started going crazy, and then she's like, "Fuck, I'm sending the army, I guess," and it turns
Is this
into like
real?
a guerrilla conflict basically across the entirety of Mexico, and it's just a fucking mess. It's so bad. And then
Wow. And then
The last-
Pre comes back.
for a little bit, the last gasp, the stupidest, like. I mean, honestly, I think it's almost ironic. He's like all of the worst, most vapid Let's look at him. Vapid
Dude.
qualities of Pre. He was not able to save Pre. He just like he came back just because what's it called? Pan was doing so bad and Calderon was fucked up so much. And he was just like this like I always got the impression of him as just this bumbling idiot. But still extraordinarily corrupt. There's this whole like scandal with like the television network where he was like fucking they're paying people off for these like things, and he like it was this whole like thing. There's a bunch of these like major like goofs that were happening. Yeah, Pena Bot. He was like had all these like automated social media trolls and shit. It was like it was so bad. He was there first along with like Donald Trump when like it first came around, but of course extraordinarily.
Oh wait, how long was his presidency?
It was from remember Mexican presidencies are 6 years, so it's different. Now. So it's from 2012 to 2018. But there's the Awala mass kidnapping. Oh, I didn't even mention the federales.
Is he the guy who was the whatchamacallit? He was the guy who was like and Trump, I'm not gonna pay you for that fucking wall. Is he that guy?
No, that's AMLO.
That was AMLO. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to him in a bit. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, the whole Awala mass kidnapping, a bunch of college students were taken and disappeared. It was by
a cartel?
massive, like, what?
By a cartel?
No, by the fucking. Well, no one knows what happened, but it was definitely implicated the Mexican army, the federal police. I forgot to mention the federal police.
Right.
So okay, they're called the federales. That's what they're called. They're made by Calderon because he's declaring war on the drugs. He's declaring the war on drug cartels.
Right.
And he creates the federal police because the police is so so corrupt. Like it's so corrupt.
So we make a new one where it's not that corrupt.
But it's extraordinarily corrupt, and it's only corrupt, and they're the ones who are kidnapping people now, and it's extraordinarily It's it's spectacularally bad. Like
they're like Frycore kinda, but like they
not
they don't
even
stand for anything. They don't stand for
bro.
anything, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're just like all infiltrated by the cartels and getting bribed, and it's like okay, this is the National Guard. I gotta see if you can see their cool like Dodge the cool like cars they had though, like just the regular ones.
You can definitely you can make some little dark age edits out of this.
Yeah, they feel them around.
That guy looks like a dweeb. Look at that guy.
Yeah, and they just were like literally the stereotype of like corrupt Mexican cops.
Right.
It's so fucking stupid.
It seems like they're militarized a lot, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that later. I'll just go to the English one so you can. Okay, so now come to AMLO.
Yeah.
So.
All right, who's this guy?
He's AMLO.
He's AMLO.
He's like in the background for a while before this. He was the head of government of Mexico City. He's like the mayor of Mexico City. He was like a darling of Pre for a little bit, for a while, back when Pre was actually of course they all have connections to Pre. That's the thing. Like, okay, anyway,
even Pan does.
Pan, well, now they do. Ironically, actually, Pan for the longest time was the one that didn't. They were like 1939 who didn't have connections.
But then they dropped the ball so hard.
They dropped the ball so hard with Calderon, and it's like that they
right.
It's kind of tragic, but. So then he's like fucking all doing this shit.
Hold on, question. Who's the guy who first did the allowed for the cartels to get big? It was a Pre guy. You said he's your least favorite one.
It was Salinas Gortari, I think.
Yeah, Gortari. Yes.
Yeah.
How do you get the cartel to like do the bad things?
Oh, he's just corruption. He just was like it was just when just corruption was like turning a blind eye to and like encouraging the government. It was insane. Anyway, though, so he after a while he started in 1976 as pre. He was in pre for like it doesn't seem it's like 1990, okay, 1989, oh, it's like so long ago. He was like a big, like not big, but like a pretty not prominent pre guy for what 15 years. Like that's pretty long. Or 15 years, and then he joins this offshoot of pre called the PRD. I haven't mentioned them before. They're like a perpetual minor party. They're like
they run kids.
Okay, shut up.
Oh, very funny right throughout.
They're more like
great to add comedy to the podcast. We really needed that. All right, anyways, go on. They're like alright at like kind of first. They're like Cardenas's son, I think, who for a while they're just basically trying to be like pre but less corrupt and like more left wing. But they just never won any elections, and so AMLO was kind of part of them for a bit. But he was like, I don't know, I just don't really like him that much. He's like all left wing, but he's like left wing populist. He's all just like, we're gonna take on the neoliberals and build my giant airport, and like it's like, I think he's honestly just doing it all for himself. Like he reminds me in a lot of ways of Elias Calles, which I will get to in a bit. So. Yeah. In 2014 he founds this party called, or 2011 he founds this party called Morena, and it's just like a movimiento de generación nacional, whatever. It's just this whole big like thing where it's like trying to take on Calderon, who he hates, and also like the pre people, which whatever, but he's also part of the pre people. Like just look at this, like if you like. Just as personally, this to me is proof that this is not like a homegrown movement. It is founded in 2011. Yeah.
Registered in 2014, and then in 2018, 4 years after it is wins, like go see the seats. Like,
oh jeez.
Like wins fucking crazy amounts. This is right now, but it was like still like something like this, like like how it just goes from being like a non-existent party to like the biggest party in Mexico in a long time, and it's like all the people who are in it are like there are a lot of
so a lot of them are former pre
a lot
people.
of them are former pre people, yes.
Okay.
And it's like of course always like new young people, because it is like a legitimate thing. There are like the complacency was crazy. Like it was like it was pre versus pot, and it was so bad. It was just a mess. So there's Morena, and then there was the Pan people, Pan PRD, and then pre just in the corner, like
Jeez, so
and AMLO gets in charge, and he's taking it to the neoliberal. It's so he's like Trump's counterweight, but like in the same way they don't really do any. Like it's like he like all fucking spoke like, I'm not paying for the wall, you're gonna pay for the wall, but like really not doing anything to like actually like, I don't know, like make fucking shit better. It's like he always ranted about the like justly he always complained about how the U.S. treated illegal immigrants and even regular immigrants, and was like, you can't like treat people like that. Then he sends the fucking army to the Guatemalan border to stop the immigrants from Central America. Like it's so fucking crazy. It's so like
he's just a hypocrite, right?
Yeah, I think so. And some people really love him. You go to Mexico City, they have little dolls of him, and Mexico City loves him because it's Mexico City.
He's kind of like Lula da Silva, and like they treat him like the left wing like grandpa dude. You know what I mean? You know Lula from fucking Brazil.
Oh yeah, it kind of is a little not, but he's a bit different than Lula. It's not quite like Lula, where it's I don't know too much about Lula honestly, but like I can. There
is like so about Lula is there's like this whole manufactured scandal that the opposition made of him, where they accused him of like doing some massive money laundering fucking fiasco shit. And it's like, oh, and then his successor, Dilma, was involved as well. And it's like, oh, it's. I mean, I personally don't fucking believe it. And obviously, they, he was gone, right? and then fucking you get Bolsonaro, you get him, right?
Yeah.
And then when Lula comes back, I'm pretty sure you know about January 8th, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where they actually his supporters, and he told his supporters to, I believe it was to go to the Capitol building and like raid it and like we want Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro wins, right? Then Lula sends a whole ass fucking military to deal with them, and he made a bunch of arrests. Something that Biden didn't do, or any people did at all.
Yeah.
Trump didn't do it because this is when Lula was in office, not when Bolsonaro was. Yeah, so it was an obvious coup they tried to do. But Lula actually did something to stop it. Obviously,
I don't know. Lula seems a bit more like he doesn't seem quite like AMLO. Like he doesn't seem like as popular. I mean, maybe he is. I don't know. I think much of Brazilian politics, but he seems like more like he has like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Lula has like credentials among like the.
He has cred.
Like,
yeah, he has cred. Yeah, people like.
And like.
Yeah.
It sounds like AMLO, I guess. Like he was mayor of Mexico City, but he just like fucking look at him. It's like he's just Mexican Trump and with left pretending to be left wing instead. There's all these like his whole like the fucking AMLO airport. It's not actually called that, but it's like basically the AMLO airport, which is infinite money sink and then the biggest thing for me is him sending the army to Guatemala to stop that. Like it's so asinine. And with the federales, he got
right.
He got rid of them, those crazy federale, and he made the National Guard, which is just this also like crazy militarized like force. And it's like, and I guess they're a little bit less corrupt.
Dude,
as
this
of
is
now.
like, Mexican politics is like, you know, the Matrix. You can never escape the Matrix. It's like layers of like the establishment controls this so much shit. It's like you try to escape the establishment, and there's another establishment, and there's another establishment.
I will give him
it's like
credit in that it seems like cautiously, it seems less openly corrupt at least than the federales were. Like it does seem like they at least have some professionals working here. They aren't going to be accepting bribes. They are at least openly. They aren't going to be like working with the cartels directly. But I'm still not convinced that that any of this has any of the people's best like will truly in mind. And again, his whole thing. He started off with this whole, you know, abrazos no balazos, you know, hugs not bullets program with the cartels. And
right.
like
Well, you told me about the thing. So he's trying to like make peace with them or some shit like that, or what was he trying to do?
Yeah, and I got his support, and it's like, but then he creates the National Guard, and it's like the National Guard, like on papers, like, and then crime kind of did go down, but it's like, there's not really been any fighting, and then there's a whole thing with like Mayo where they arrested Mayo, and it seemed like there's been a bunch of like big fighting after that. It's like Mayo was like some cartel guy, but he was arrested in the U.S., but then it didn't. And quite frankly, I'm not convinced the government just hasn't made tacit agreements with the cartels where they like allow them to semi-operate in exchange for keeping violence down and using the National Guard as like this kind of pseudo like thing to show like we're safe is like the fucking Maginot Line of the government. I don't know.
Or like a Munich agreement essentially.
Yeah, it's like it's the
essentially yeah.
And I mean, it could make sense. Like, I get the sentiment behind it because they don't want another Calderon. Like, they don't want another, like, I declare war on the drug cartel. But, like, also, this isn't the... Like, it just all, like, smells of extraordinary amounts of corruption.
Right. And then there's his successor.
Yes,
Sheinbaum.
Claudia Sheinbaum. And she's... whatever. I'll show you, like, 2020...
But you think that she's actually just a puppet of AMLO? AMLO is operating behind the shadows.
Maybe not quite as directly as with Calles, but I feel like it's pretty. Yeah. I don't even know what this whole thing was weird. Like, okay, first of all, it was tried. Like, PAN and PRI and the PRD were all on the same like coalition. It's like so stupid because they're all just like so bad. Like 160% of the vote. There was this like Sochi person who was running for PAN, And then whatever the fuck this was, the citizens movement. If you listen to the 91X or whatever, it's like, we are the people of the citizen movement. Citizen movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. And I'm honestly half convinced that the only reason this guy was running is for people who would have voted for her but didn't want to vote for a girl. Like it's it's like the same demographic, but like it's so fucking like I don't know who the fuck this guy was doing. Like I don't know what the strategy with the citizens movement was.
You get all like the Mexican racists to vote for one side or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
and then so there's like some big controversy with it. It was all stupid. And then Scheinbaum, she's fine, I guess. Like I don't know enough about her to find her.
What's happening
objectionable.
now with Scheinbaum, Trump, and the I don't know the freaking some
the
shit
tariffs
like
tariffs are gone because she called Mr. Trump and they said no more guns and I don't know. It's all just it don't feel so disingenuous. It feels like they're like
right.
It feels like they're both like Trump and the fucking Morena and the ruling party of Mexico or just the ruling Mexico City people are just agreeing to like distract both of their people perpetually just to keep them to pretend like they hate each other so they can instead just trade.
Yeah.
It's like it's just so useless, so pointless, stoking so much nonsensical like fear, and it's like it's all just the same. It's like nothing's improved. I mean, there's some improvements, I guess. They've enacted some reforms. I don't want to like give Morena no credit because they're kind of left wing, but I still don't
more left wing than Democrats in the U.S.
More left wing than Democrats, I guess, but also different because Mexico allows for like the ability to be more left wing to Democrats, at least on paper. It's like it's almost the opposite situation with Democrats, where it's like you can't have like you say something you're socialist. It's like no, like that's a taboo. In Mexico, it's like all right, but it's like everyone just like says random shit. It's like the socialists and I support them when I'm talking to the people, and you get the Mexico City and the communists, and it's like nonsense, but nothing ever changes. And it's like it's all just still concentrated on Mexico City. It's all still neglecting all the countryside. It's all still like it's just so stupid. It's all still the corruption. They'll have some big photo shoot every once in a while where like, this regional governor or something, we just arrested him because he was working with the cartels, and they have a big picture of him, and like it's all just like nonsense though. It's all just like feels like to me at least like smoke and mirrors. She's following AMLO's footsteps. She's the mayor of Mexico City before she became president from 2018 to 2023. Like, it's oh my god. She's the people in DF or Mexico City, whatever you prefer to call it. They love her there because of course they do, because they fucking love every single person that comes from there and becomes the president again. And it's like, it's just I don't know. And she said she's not going to be a puppet. That's what she said. Like, no soy una marioneta de AMLO, pero it's like fucking.
Yeah, wow.
I don't know. I think it's all just nonsense.
Yeah, so what connection does this have for the next topic of discussion?
Oh, yeah.
It has lots of connection, all right? There's PAN, which I guess they're like, they're what's my
You know what the connection is?
What's the connection?
The neoliberals.
Right, the neoliberals
coming in.
Yeah.
Anarcho-capitalists.
Anarcho-capitalism. What the fuck's all that about? Jeez,
it's not a real.
Damn, I don't know. I saw this one. Image I just saw the other day. All right, I think it was today actually, and it was some. Hold on, let me just open this.
Show the.
Yeah. How should I show this?
You can put it on screen share, I guess.
Let's open a new window. Can we do that?
Me? Sure.
Yeah, can you do it? It's the you know the one. I'm gonna restart the yeah. Let's check this. Analyze this image. This is an amazing image. I laughed so hard when I first found it today, because I remember an era of YouTube where this is very popular, where you have people You have people running around calling themselves anarcho-capitalists. By the way, what is anarcho-capitalism? You're the anarchist. You probably let's go to here. All right, I think they can see it now. This is a beautiful image. Well, as we can see here, we have a furry in like a space outfit with a sigil of the anarcho-capitalist flag, and then he has a giant hammer. It just says logic. And the caption here, it says, the last sight of many Akami.
Yeah. That says it all.
I don't know. Dude, this is amazing.
I do feel like
Roger,
they're
what
not
do you
really
think?
a political movement.
What do you think of this? Well, technically they
just-
are. I mean, you have Javier Milei, right? He's like the...
Javier Milei is a whole other thing. I can go into Argentinian politics if you want to talk. Like that's a whole there's that crazy image of him in the. I guess if you want to give them a fair shake, they're like
Why is
They're
your
kinda rooted
browser
in,
in
like-
Spanish?
what?
Why is your browser in Spanish?
Ask questions.
Yeah, you don't ask questions here, all right? Only I ask the questions, all right?
But-
I'm the interviewer.
I mean, obviously they kind of rooted that whole like free market economy stuff. Like I'd say like they have a lot of influence like Ayn Rand and all of them.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
like,
Ayn Rand.
They're like the
famously- Famously,
Oh,
Ayn Rand
yeah.
actually hated the
Capital-
anarcho-capitalists.
She
Yes.
hated everything though. She was like a cult leader. She was just
We
like
don't even-
I swear to
don't
God, she was a contrarian just to get like books to sell. But I
Right.
think this is another
You
guy.
don't even get
On-
to like put her on the guillotine. It's so sad. She died too early.
Yeah, but no, I feel
Well,
like,
that
honestly,
Margaret
like,
Thatcher, another girl boss that we could have made an
And
example
Margaret Thatcher.
of.
Margaret,
I guess-
Margaret Thatcher goes first because you'd probably need like a few because she's like a lizard person. Actually,
Oh,
I'm not
this is
even gonna
true.
like compliment her.
I
I'm not
do
even
think-
gonna compliment her and call her a lizard person.
I do think it is. I guess like you could also say like it has its roots in like the libertarian movement and stuff. But honestly, like this type of like self-described anarcho-capitalism, it really does only exist online. 'Cause it has like
Thank God, man.
yeah, and almost
shit.
by
Get
that
design
the
because it
lack
can't
of a
really
government-
Yo.
really can't be a political movement like in person. Just because like think about it, it's almost like antithetical. Like they're against.
You know what they call themselves,
Okay.
right? They call themselves voluntarists. You know about that?
Yeah,
Where
but,
it's like they're kind of like LARPing as like anarcho-pacifists in a sense, where they're like, yeah, well, this is how we're gonna like, this is how we're gonna have a anarcho-capitalist society. We're just have the markets, we're have the black market do everything. So eventually,
I can't,
the
like-
market's gonna replace the government. It's like,
honestly,
what?
they never like really make me angry. Is that it just seems like a little funny because like
It is
when you
funny,
talk about
right,
like when we talk about the actual like deregulated like economical stuff, you know, like actually like Austrian economics and neoliberal economics and all this like Ayn Rand, it's all very much from the top down. Like it's all like people in
Oh,
like
yes,
Wall
Austrian
Street, people in
economics.
yeah, it's like
Economics,
people are like
yes.
they may suffer, but we will, you know, yada yada.
Well,
for
right, it
the
was
invisible hand of the market.
The Chicago school people in the Chicago school were actually instrumental in Nixon's CIA coup of Salvador Allende, right, where they have Pinochet in charge.
I don't know too much about that, so I can't say.
There
I'm
is
sure,
look
but-
this up. This is a real thing. You don't have to look it up right now, but
She's actually the
for
good
those
guy.
in the audience, you can look this up. There is a whole movement of economic libertarians who were trying to who were a little instrumental in coupping the socialist government of Chile, so they can instrument a dictatorship essentially.
But it's funny because it's like all the actual like deregulatory movements are again very much like top down, like from corporations for corporations. Like it was basically a way for
Right.
them to get more money and kind of create the illusion of growth. And
Right,
so it was like
right.
it only became policy once like these companies were able to get powerful enough, and once like
It's funny.
During the
He
height
actually has a
of the war, yeah.
Javier Milei has a very
So-
authoritarian government for despite being a self-described narco-capitalist. Because I think he's the one who banned abortion in Argentina or something like that. Right? You hear about
I don't
this?
know if, I haven't heard about that. I'll look that up.
This is like a year ago, I think. Argentina. I might be.
Maybe
I might be fibbing, but
during the first 14 week Maybe he said he was going to.
Yeah, something like that, which is still like authoritarian, which I don't think.
Okay, it failed to receive the. Okay. Oh.
Well, that's
Okay,
good.
I'll
That's
know.
good. All right. Yeah.
But I was gonna say, well, the interesting thing about capitalism instead, it's almost like the people. It's like this weird scenario where it's like just random people online who like kind of like. I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid of like these because that sounds kind of condescending, but it's like it's not the type of like deregulation can only really happen from like the top down. It can only really happen like from corporations, and they're trying to create like a decentralized like bottom up capitalism, which is kind of like a contradiction because it's obviously like a pretty fundamentally hierarchical system. And honestly, it's not even like something where it's like, oh my god, they're not anarchists. They're not. It's like well, it's whatever. They call them whatever they want. And I think it's just kind of funny. Like this is all you need to look at. Like what the fuck is this? It's like there's not a serious movement.
Yeah,
not because not.
Well, go on YouTube and see if there's any more banger anarcho-capitalist content we can watch, because that always gives me a chuckle, dude. This shit was it was so big back in the day. It was so good, man. Or maybe look up anarcho-capitalism. Yeah, there you go.
But it's all like this. But I will say, before like putting it on, like I will say it is like I'm trying to like articulate this. Like I feel like it really can't. It can't be an actual political movement just because it function. It doesn't have the actual like mechanism to ever become powerful. Because like, can you ever imagine an actual ANCAP protest? Like it's almost like contradictory. Like because it's all based around very like individualistic. It's almost like funny. It's like a bunch of people got together and we're like, the only thing we agree with is that like ourselves above everything else. And it's like they're slightly principled, I suppose. Like they take it to their like logical conclusion. It's just that within the logical conclusion, there's no actual mechanism to like change any systems. And the only way anything resembling anarcho-capitalism can ever get into existence is really just like governments bending over to corporations. Because there is like, I guess if we're taking this like as an actual serious movement, which we won't in a second once we're like looking at the videos, it's like the main problem with anarcho-capitalism or any like is that it doesn't recognize the fact that companies can be just as like I guess coercive as a government. They're like the two sides of the same coin. It's like you take away the power of the government and it doesn't make it so people are more free.
Yeah.
All it does is if you have these corporations, instead they'll just take the vacuum. And same thing the other way around. Like you look at like the Soviets, and it's like they got rid of capitalism, but they kept like these authoritarian institutions around, and so they just created a new class of like people instead of party members who were in effect doing the same thing. And anarcho-capitalism, if you actually just decapitate the government while keeping these corporations, and with like some banana republic where it's like the corporations fill that void because like they exist to defend each other. It's like economic, I guess, power is like the fuel behind political power. Like they can't exist without each other. And unless you like actually try to tackle both of them, unless you actually try to like diffuse that power through everybody, and unless you try to like build institutions which are resistant to like power being concentrated in a few hands in the first place, it will generally trend towards that, and will only really be stopped by like when people eventually stand up, when people eventually protest, and that's when you get that constant push-pull cycle, like governments giving some reforms, like you see in the Gilded Age, where it's like in response to the extreme overreach of like these economic, of like these like these massive companies, massive corporations, and the government. So
realistic anarcho-capitalism is just like, I mean, I guess if they want their policies put through, I mean, they have Trump, right, in the United States. He's basically just funneling the whole deregulation thing down the gutter.
But then they wouldn't like him either, because he's like authoritarian. And that's the thing they don't understand.
Well, do they really care? Do they really care about authoritarianism though?
I feel like
I don't know if they're principled enough.
I feel like some of them are. Like that's a funny thing. It's like they're kind of like
If
In
they
my
are,
opinion-
they're just autistic.
Yeah,
You know what I
I think
mean?
a lot of them. Like, look at this. Okay, like I
Look at
think
that,
a lot of them
bro.
are like living like a contradiction, or it's like, okay, first of all, most of them it's a meme, like 100%. This is like a for the ones that are, it's like I feel like some of them probably are disturbed by Trump. Like I've seen where it's like, oh man, you know, like if they're not like if they're actually sticking to their guns, it's like, oh, this is not what I wanted. I wanted like like taxation of staff. If I didn't, this is like not not authoritarian. So, but like, they don't understand that's like they go hand in hand, like because like the people who are in government are very often the same people who have like corporate interests on mind because it's like they're generally powerful people. And generally speaking, like, I'm not like labeling everyone in government as bad or anything. I'm just saying like generally speaking, the people with the most resources to advocate for themselves against the government are the ones who get into government. And then generally speaking, they'll benefit their own interests, not because they're necessarily evil, just because the path of least resistance and doing the opposite requires you to actively forfeit your control. And so you just end up with a system where they will try to take as much power as they can, only limited by how much people are willing to push back. And like I was saying before the Gilded Age, like eventually, like people push back really hard. You see the rise of socialism and like an actual anarchist movement. And then they give some concessions, and then they calm people down. They make people's lives good enough, and then it's just a push and pull back and forth again. And combined with enough force, they kind of just keep it in this like metastable balance. And anarcho-capitalism, what they want to do is they just want to take down that government slider, put it all the way down to zero, and fucking smash that into pieces, while completely ignoring like the other half of that equation. And it's kind of like it's self-contradiction.
You know, the freer market, the freer the people, because that means you and I can have our own enterprise without any government interference, right? That's like their pipe dream, right? And
Also,
people say like, yeah, people say like socialism is like a pipe dream, you know? And it's like, oh, you want the free stuff, right? You want the I don't know, fucking free healthcare or some shit like that. Right? It's like, well, you're gonna get taxes. So it's like this is even more goofy.
Yeah,
It's just
And
even
also
more of like a pipe dream.
again, if we're gonna dignify their ideas and treat it like an actual like ideology, or whatever, it's like another big thing with that is like, how do they implement? Like, how do they plan to go about this? Like, what would they do?
There's this whole movement where they constructed called agorism. Pull up agorism. It's agorism. It's this whole thing where it's like it's a social philosophy where they create a new society through counter economics, where they have like the black market controls everything, where it's like you can see it from like the title. It says, or for this little paragraph, it says where in which all relations people are voluntary exchange by means of counter economics, where it's like I've heard it. I've unironically heard it before.
Who the fuck is this?
I've heard it before. Yeah.
So, do you see this guy?
This guy is just your average anarcho-capitalist online.
Okay.
He just has a furry profile pic, so you don't see his real face. No, but like their whole thing is like, I've heard this unironically been said. Like they want crypto. They think crypto is gonna liberate them from the government, because it's like it's not fiat currency, and it's a decentralized dollar essentially, and that's the economics they're gonna use to liberate themselves from the shackles of government. Some shit like that.
I guess like all like money is fake or whatever. But like I feel like crypto has no bearing on actual like.
No, yeah, crypto's obviously a
labor.
scam. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all based on like some freaking like code essentially, and it's always fluctuating because there's no material basis in our lives that we actually need cryptocurrency. I think at first I think
Do you know what
Bitcoin.
cryptocurrency is, Luca?
Yeah, it's a blockchain.
There is a physical value to a cryptocurrency.
What's that value?
The value is tied to basically you're selling your computer
Oh,
to do
right, the blockchain.
computation
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the internet. No. The blockchain is a validation system, so that you can't have one person validating it that could falsify it. But the value of a cryptocurrency comes from the computing power that you pretty much volunteer, but you're basically giving crypto for how much computing power you give to the internet as a whole.
Is it is it sustainable?
What do you mean?
Like, is it like
There's theoretically a limited amount of crypto, but like we'll never actually reach that point. So it's like theoretically it's growing, but it's growing slower and slower and slower. So it's really just like the ultimate, like if it were to become a real currency, it would be the ultimate stratification of wealth.
Yeah. I'm just like bizarre how like baffled like how self-identified anarcho-capitalists actually want to like achieve this. Cause it's like again like I really can't imagine any like major meaningful anarcho-capitalist protests or like even like trying to like build the infrastructure of an anarcho-capitalist society in the current one. Like what are they gonna do? There's not like any anarcho-capitalist unions they can make. Like they can't even really make alternative like stores or anything. Like they can't like do it like the
they have like gangs. They have like cartels or some shit like that.
like,
that's like the only thing where I can see where it's like. Well, the thing is, you want to be peaceful too, right? They have this whole shit with the non-aggression principle or some shit like that, where it's like, well, in our society, we're not gonna attack each other because we're not gonna attack each other. It's like what?
It's like a good example of anarcho-capitalism becoming a government is online with social media sites, content moderation, and just like the terms of service is literally they established the rules because there's no government there, and they just took the role of government because there's no government.
Yeah, and like unlike a actual anarchist movement, it's not. There's really no mechanism for them to like create any alternative system like in the process. Like there's they can't do it like the classic I guess anarchist strategy is of like while you like using like unions or other groups oriented in an anarchist fashion to tear down the current system, and while using those groups to also like build the structure for a new society, like like the CNT did, where it's like you have your organizations as like mirrors to what you want them to be like in like an anarchist society, and you like work trying to like get actual like communities on your side and creating like reasonable alternatives to like state institutions. This is because like this kind of almost precludes that, because it's like they're fundamentally against like cooperate. I don't want to. Okay, that's like an overstatement, but like I really can't see how they can make any actual like organizations. Like I guess they could make their own like pseudo money that they use only between themselves, and they create their own but then that's
the whole like counter economics or whatever bullshit they made up. We gotta do. We gotta pull up some anarcho-capitalist videos because those are always funny. Those. Let's see them talk about.
I think
talk about this. What's up?
I think Emerald made a good point earlier when he was talking about there's pretty much no political capital behind it, because there's no point for anyone with political power to do it because they already have the state to be their artery of
exactly
power.
Like that's what actual like capitalists prefer,
right, the real guys in power.
It's more covert if they can have the state do it, because then they can just have some politician take the fall.
And then they don't have to be the state. Like I think bringing up Enrico Maltese, I think he said something where it's like Carnegie doesn't need to be the prime minister.
Enrico Malatesta.
I know.
He's a friend of the show. We know him very well. If he were alive, I think he'd be a big fan of cheese talk and everything we stand for. I think he would.
It's like why like Carnegie doesn't need to be the prime minister because Carnegie can pay off the prime ministers. Like it's almost more inconvenient for them to actually run all this stuff by themselves. That's why they wouldn't want like an anarcho-capitalist society, because like then they'd have to run the functions of the state by themselves, and it's not in anybody's interest.
Although it'd be a really cool LARP, you know what I mean?
It would be really cool LARP. But like
They
the
become like
reason why
lords and shit.
why
you
the
know?
state exists though, because like it's not of any interest to like obviously the regular people. Like if the state collapses, like that'd be fucking like out of and nothing replaces it. That'd be like only like an
Well, it'll be
anarcho-capitalist
energized
system.
by the
It'd be kinda
revolutionary
crazy.
spirit of
Yeah, but, like, it would be-
cryptocurrency.
But you don't want social order to collapse, like every average
Yeah.
person. But neither does like people at the top. Like companies
Right,
don't want
right.
social order to collapse.
You know,
there goes their
I'm-
money.
Let me
Like,
go
they-
find some videos myself, and I'll link them to you because I know my anarcho-capitalists. All right, I
Okay.
know them very well. All right, me and anarcho-capitalism go way back. Actually,
Let's pull up
for
a J-Reg
this is
video.
some. No, it's not J-Reg. This is old. This is older than J-Reg, actually. So basically, I used to make
Chomsky.
videos. I used to make videos before Cheese Talk and all our fans know of us from Cheese Talk, right? I used to have my own YouTube channel. It's Stone LD, right? And I made political content. I made videos about anarcho-capitalism and shit like that. And I argued with many of these foes, these clowns, these buffoons. Where did they go? Dude, they're gone. Do you remember that one guy? I think he went by like Anarchy Ball.
I remember you mentioned him.
Is he still there? Hold on.
Dude,
Dude, he had the best content, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. This is amazing. They have like the first soda, like trying to talk to you about. Wait. Okay. All right. Which one? Wait. Okay.
So you'll
Let's
hear this argument from some
let's see this. Hold on. Emerald Master 5. I would like you to play this video, please.
okay.
By Mr.
What the hell?
Dapperton, who formerly known as Anarchy Ball.
So you'll hear this argument from some conservatives, but mainly anarcho-capitalists, also known as ANCAPs, and libertarians. The argument that taxation is theft, and oh boy, do I wish that ANCAPs and libertarians would try moving to Somalia for a bit.
Yes, statists actually believe that Somalia is a good example of
Oh yeah.
anarchism,
Wait,
even
pause,
though that
pause,
anarchism
pause.
means zero.
Pause. Wait. So these guys call like their political enemies like anybody a statist. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're a statist because you want police. You know what I mean? You don't want like people knocking on your door and like shooting you and shit like that. But yeah.
I think police was probably the worst example.
Well, okay. Civil society, right? Fire department. Yeah, the police. They do very questionable things. Yes. But yeah, continue on the video.
I do think it was interesting the point that Roger brought up though. Like I know police isn't the best like example. Maybe they are actually a good example because it shows one interesting thing about anarcho-capitalists, which is like they're like almost there. They're like halfway there, but they stumble over the last hurdle. It's like they kind of like see how like a lot of
my
like,
god. Yes, dude. I said this to my one friend who is an anarcho-capitalist. I was like, dude,
Wait,
it's like
is he the Ayn Rand
anarcho-capitalist
fan
literally
you were
gets
talking about?
handed. Yeah. An anarcho-capitalist literally gets handed the cheat sheet and then chooses all the wrong answers still.
yeah. It's so oh my god. Fucking, what the fuck is this?
It's to protest
Oh,
President
Fox
Trump.
News. That's like I just want
Okay.
to see it.
What's
That's
going
what
on?
it's-
Emerald,
LA
look what
immigration
Trump
pro.
just pulled out.
Holy shit! Oh damn! Oh, there we go.
Emerald.
See, like people actually do shit still. I'm kind of glad. Like I'm glad it's actually a protest.
Look up the organization Trump just pulled out of.
Also, sorry for interrupting.
I sent it in the other chat.
No, this is probably more important. I think this is what people need to hear.
The United
actually-
Nations
Everyone is
Human Rights
pretty-
Council.
No way!
Yeah.
No shot.
guy.
Okay,
He did
World
put
Health
his
Organization is
buddy
one
into
thing.
them.
This is something else. Like Paris Climate Accords, like that's expected, you know? Dude, this is insane.
Yeah. He
Damn,
did,
bro.
No, he did it. He did it solely to help Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, obviously, I guess, yeah. But this is who the fuck, dude? Who's like your average Republican who would support this? You know what I mean? Like, who would support this?
One of the big
What's
things
the argument?
he's able to pull out of the organizations that send no, they just send aid to Palestinians. Like that's the big thing. But yeah, no, the U.S. is now.
Let's finish this video really quick. Is this like peak anarcho-capitalist content?
Government, and Somalia has 17 different factions fighting for power. That's 17 governments. Most countries only have one government, but Somalia has 17.
He's like supposed to be cool.
A good example of government.
No, wait. Does he know that there's more than one tech company that would probably fight the other companies without like a government?
Also, they don't understand. They don't understand that like a company like can be as coercive as a government. It's like, okay, like it's not as like what companies do isn't as like I guess
they don't like shoot you in civil society,
like pointing a gun to you saying if you don't do this I'll kill you. But what they do is they like take away the means of life. They like say like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want, it's just if you don't work for me you're gonna die, like, you're gonna starve to death. And it's like that's not really a choice either. It's like they do the same thing. They create artificial scarcity. They fucking take the vast majority of everything, and it just creates. It's a system which is by its very nature like hierarchical, and that's the one thing you have to remember. It's like no matter how hard like you work, like just like statistically speaking, if everybody worked a million times harder, like nothing would change because like by definition the vast majority have to be at the bottom to support like the whole system. And if we don't treat the people at the bottom with respect and dignity, it's just not, it just creates a fundamentally inhumane system. Like it creates a system built against just life. And it's no,
definitely, yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Well,
it's like
it's a put in perspective though. If we're put in their shoes, the original idea of capitalism was actually supposed to be like it was supposed to be a liberatory system from mercantilism. Well, it was Adam Smith who wrote The Wealth of Nations, and he was trying to argue against the mercantilist monopoly, where the state itself controlled industry, because they already had markets, right? Markets was like a thing that always that always happened. But the idea is that if we decentralize it so that we have private citizens owning property or owning, like capital, like it would be a much more sustainable society, right? Yeah. Which on paper it sounded really nice, but then now we're here. You know what I mean?
And there is like some truth to it. It did do a very good job in like taking away the power of like the old landed gentry, like aristocrats. And similar thing with republicanism in general, like republics, because they could take away the power from these like kings and people, but without addressing the root of that power. What eventually happened is like there was the whole period of unrest, turbulence, but eventually the people in charge just kind of co-opted it. Eventually it all just became kind of the same. Republicans were no longer revolutionary. They're better than the monarchies before, but the same people who were in charge before just kind of like shifted around a bit. Like the landed gentry aren't the people who are typically in charge anymore. They're still there. Some of them are still incredibly rich, but instead a new group of like merchants kind of elevated themselves.
The bourgeois,
in many cases got even richer. Yeah. And so we're working in the framework of a like 200-year-old system, and it's acting like that's like some natural God-given order. It's just like bizarre. And the fact of the matter is, there's like much better things we could be doing now, much more fair ways of like organizing society, and we could be actively working towards it by actively building more democratic institutions, by promoting like again the creation of like unions, just to give some level of accountability to these corporations, and like at the same time try to build new, if not anarchist, at least more like democratic kind of owned by the like people who are working for it, like stores or other organizations that can work together without having to try to be like running at a profit, just to create like a sort of counterbalance, and then you can work from there. You could build the infrastructure for something new, and then maybe one day. I don't know.
On a side note, though, would you rather pay more for a phone, but it's made without killing any kids, or you pay like 5 times less and you only have to like exercise it to like free the spirits or something, right?
That's a good point.
That's true. Yeah. Because they're the sweatshops because they're doing like they're exercising a lot. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how like the concentration
No,
camps.
I mean an exorcism for the phone to free the trapped spirits of
spirits.
The
child
sweatshops
slaves that made
I
them.
was about to make a Holocaust joke. Damn. All right, you were talking about something else. I thought
All right,
like,
well, we
okay.
saved you from demonetization.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. What's up with Mr. Dapperton? You know, he used to go by Anarchy Ball, but now he's Mr. Dapperton because he's dapper. Look at him. He's so dapper.
Can we see if people in the comments are destroying him?
I doubt it. It's a pretty small channel. I think they're going to be mostly on the side. Yeah.
Oh, no, they're all glazing. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like I can't get mad. Like they have like some reasonable angers and resentments. It's just they direct towards the wrong thing, but also just like such a bizarre thing where it doesn't really cause any harm. It's like anarcho-capitalists are making the
Are we
world
gonna
worse.
finish this video or?
Yeah.
All right, check this out.
That's not a good example of anarchism. That's the furthest thing from anarchism. That's ultra statism is what that is.
But I'm here to talk about why taxation is not theft. So first of all, without the state, you have no property rights. There is no such thing as property rights. The state creates these property rights, and this is something that libertarians often stumble on. You ask them, hey, how would there be property rights without the government? And they have no
hold on,
answer.
pause. Clearly we have property rights. They're from God.
This guy out of here.
Stutter very much because they can't explain this.
Because it's not an argument. It makes no goddamn sense. You can't just state something and then just pretend that it's true. You got to explain how it's true. How does not having government prevent property rights? Is it magic?
Oh my god!
What?
Does this guy?
okay.
Wait, does this guy have a mental illness?
Actually, yeah. I hope not, because I feel bad making fun of him.
Property rights are created by the states. Who the fuck enforces it?
That's like honestly half the reason why the state exists. Like you go back to like how it was formed, and it was very much to defend like the land. Of,
literally.
Like, yeah.
Oh, I don't want to defend my farm from raiders anymore. Here, government, you do all this shit.
Or like feudal lords hiring like, but I mean, it's like I don't know. It's like on the one hand, it's like. You could be saying that like you don't necessarily need like a hierarchical government.
Bro really went. Yeah. There were no property rights on the government. Prove it.
Yeah. That's like a really diversionary tactic because like there's ways he could have. Because that is a true statement. I think it's like property rights are kind of guaranteed by the government, but it's like he could have gone about diffusing that better, even if it wouldn't have been like airtight.
Well, here's the thing. It also goes into a deeper philosophical argument if you think about it. Because if property rights are, guaranteed by the government alone, and you can't really have property rights with like a mediator to determine what is property rights, right? Are human rights not also determined by governments in general? You know what I mean? It's like it's like a balancing act. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I do think that's only. I do think that's only confusing because we act like these governments are some supernatural like force. Or like something that exists outside of like human institutions. Like I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say.
It is. They seem to think it is.
But it's like these are all ultimately things that we have created either to make life more tolerable or to make life more tolerable for us at the expense of others. Like it's not all like good things. It's not all bad things. It's just all, but they are all our constructions ultimately, and that doesn't mean they're like worthless. Just like it just means that they're not like none of this is like set in stone.
Yeah. So, what else does this guy have to say? I'm curious.
And before we click play, can I just point out? It's just interesting to me that some of these people that like like paint themselves instead of doing like a video of themselves or just having a static image of nothingness. Like this dude has fucking like a business suit on with a sock with a hole in it, 3 guns, money bags, a maid, and some like stupid ass shit all fetishized.
You
So
know what?
fucking
That's
weird.
that's
I
what
think
libertarians is about.
that's what libertarians all about. It has
This
nothing to
guy-
do with
there's no way
politics. It's
this
just
guy
looking
actually-
cool and
No, no, no.
getting chicks.
But like he's got like a DMR, an assault rifle, and it's like this guy probably owns like a handgun
He
at
still
best.
makes stuff.
No way. Wait,
Oh,
check his
man.
newest
Communism
video.
destroyed? Oh wait, no, you missed it. Communism destroyed?
Oh, it's
46 minutes. Is this a propaganda film?
I think so.
It's a propaganda film, I guess. Oh, look, it's the guy from that one. Wait, it's the guy from that one image.
I guess esoteric entity is back, and guess what? Now
What?
he's seeing ghosts.
It's the major turning point, but you guys don't know what happened in the last 5 years. Just, I was shot at in a random drive-by and had to pretend to be dead in a ditch to survive.
What the fuck do we stumble upon?
No way. There's a documentary about esoteric. So esoteric entity is
went-
also this other fuckface dude who's like some other fursona anarcho-capitalist voluntarist YouTuber. I knew this guy. I talked with this guy before actually. I was in the scene,
Sorry
man.
for you.
I was in the scene. I hung out. I didn't hang out with him. I talked to anarcho-capitalists. We had our own like Google
You were
Hangouts. No, I wasn't. No, I was a socialist. I was like trying to. I was trying to argue against them. I deleted my
Did you lose?
videos. I don't know. I didn't know fucking shit. I was like 12, bro. This is like 8 years ago.
Actually, if we want a good argument for communism, the 8-year-old kid that made the
Oh,
We
I
Need
love that.
Communism
No,
videos.
no,
yeah.
yeah. I love that.
He's actually my idol
I know
now.
this guy. I know this guy. I talked with him before. Scenable. I've had conversations with this dude. Yeah.
You knew him?
Yeah. I knew him. Yeah.
No way, you lie.
We were in the
Yeah,
same
I do
little-
remember. I do remember. You're part of like that weird like under like ground.
Yeah. Dude, is it
I
still
remember.
up?
Okay.
Me and Cyber
Look
was
up-
like, I don't think. Me and
look
Cyber
up-
was like
look up-
confused. All I remember is
look
like
up,
that
look
heavy
up,
rated in the
no.
stream with the
Hold
Steam
on.
notifications.
Hold on.
Yo, look up.
Luca knew Snibble.
Was
Yo,
it
look
how you
up-
spell it?
Scenable.
Scene able. Yeah.
Like that?
Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
You knew this guy?
I knew this guy. Yeah.
You
The
lie.
10-year-old. No, I don't lie.
Look at good videos.
Oh. Wait.
Oh, did he delete it?
No.
Look up.
Let's
oh,
go!
There we go. We need communism.
Yes.
Click it. No.
Okay.
Emerald, click it. Trust.
Amazing.
Hey guys,
Great content.
you're all-
Okay.
No, watch it. No, watch it. Emerald.
What is it? Why? It's literally just like a 10-year-old.
Watch it. Trust. Trust us, dude.
It's good content. It's good content.
Weak.
It's amazing.
Emerald, click that.
pal Scenable here, and I want to make a video about why, to this day, after the time in history when it was founded,
I'm gonna
we
grab
still
some
need
water for you, one second.
communism. Now, for any of you who don't
Amazing.
know, communism is
Amazing.
the idea of a nation sharing
This
the
is
wealth. And
Yes.
while
Yes,
some
it
people
is.
call it distributing, if I were to ever start a country with a communist government, wink, wink, wait 12 years,
Shit.
I'd probably
Shit,
Worth it,
man.
like have
Worth it,
these
go.
company like
Dude,
these buildings
Elect
which you
Seedable
can put in money
for president,
for
man.
other people to have. You know, kind of a share. Now, I know
Yeah.
not all communist states are like this, but still, distributing is just as fine as sharing it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not explaining why we need communism. I'm just giving the difference between distributing. Because they protect technically are, because, hey, a parent could make their child share a toy or something. Anyway, now on
This
to
is
why
amazing.
we actually need communism.
Tell it.
Like, actually need... It's cold
Tell it,
out
brother
here.
man.
I have 2 reasons. One, poor people, we really can't have poor people. It's not good
You're damn
for
straight,
a bunch
man.
for like a whole class of people to be poor. People need money. We can't just let people
He's
be
absolutely
around,
right.
just be homeless,
He's so base.
because they can't get
Oh,
jobs.
shit.
Money is important,
Yeah.
so that's another reason we need communism.
Yeah.
And secondly, some people might say, oh, we have welfare. Welfare just promotes lazy people.
Damn. Okay.
I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know.
Trust.
But I'm pretty sure welfare, especially down in the United States, costs a bit of moolah.
Wait, is he not from... Wait, pause. Is he not from the United States? Is he Canadian? Is it down in the United States?
Okay, you know how Marx made the initial theory, then Lenin added to it, etc.
Marxism,
I think,
Leninism,
he-
Maoism, Cenobalism. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was
Amazing.
the greatest addition. All right.
Dude,
Like,
he was
Lenin
great,
like,
man.
oh, capitalism in the state, da 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 da. Cenobal is
Yeah.
like, we need to share.
Wait, check
Everything.
dude. Yes, he's so damn right. Check out, remember Comrade Nicolau? Remember that guy? He was that guy who flip-flopped
hell
between
is that?
communists to fascists. Check out that guy.
I think you mentioned, dude. I just remember like when you talk about them back in like 2017.
Yeah. Wait.
Is it Card Dimitri?
Wait.
What's his name?
I think it's Nicolau, because he was Portuguese, I believe, with
that?
with a C. Yeah. There we go. That's the man.
What?
He was like a fascist.
Oh my god.
He was a communist and a fascist, and then an anarchist or some shit like that. Oh wait, he got rid of his Oh man, we gotta watch this.
Do we?
Do you have the old videos? Like, he didn't delete them?
My issues with what?
Oh no.
Just schizophrenic.
Salazar, a great fascist.
I feel like, do we really need to?
Dude, I don't know, man. This brings back old memories. This guy was dope. Okay, not actually, he was a fucking fascist.
Wait,
but
but like, why is he calling himself fascist now if he's comrade? You forget that part?
I think it's the branding. You know what I mean? You can't get rid of an iconic name that quickly.
Georgian
You know what I mean?
crossbow.
Like, I don't even know what that is. Is that the Estado Novo shit, or what is that? That's the Georgian cross?
No. I think the Georgian cross is 4 little ones, but it just looks similar.
Yeah, he was like a Portuguese nationalist fascist LARPer. He said like Salazar was like one of the greatest leaders of all time. It's like so random.
Yeah.
So random.
Okay.
Damn.
So how much? Where do we go from here?
Oh, anarcho-capitalism?
Watch more Cenobal.
Dude, anarcho-capitalism is more like... Anarcho-capitalism is more like pie in the sky than Cenobal's ideology, bro. Alright?
Is that like it exists
Well, no,
like only
people,
online,
like,
though. It's like such
is
a,
it
it's a sort of
bullet time?
theoretical thing. Like, there's no real
Yeah.
practical application of it.
No, bro. I heard an argument back in the day from these clowns that there is whatchamacallit, back in like ancient Ireland they had anarcho-capitalist societies. Well, they had de facto anarcho-capitalist societies. You know, it's like they had a voluntarist. They had a voluntarist association or some shit like that, and it was like some bullshit they made up. It has like no historical back. What are you looking up?
We gotta cleanse our palate from. Toda guerra
Wait, the cleanser palette.
brindo y diciembre en sus centros la
Alternate history
tierra
PT.
al sonoro rugir del cañón.
Emerald.
What?
Alternate history PT.
Oh,
Oh no, what's this?
you remember him?
Oh, this
Oh, he hasn't
guy.
been anything 2 months.
Oh.
This is the last one.
Damn.
We can always just watch
15 years on YouTube is crazy.
Yeah.
Where's the Japan one?
Well, I think.
I think we're reaching close to the end of the podcast.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think it might be the podcast. All right.
We
So,
got 2 minutes
yeah,
left.
2 minutes left. Anything you want to say while we play this beautiful music?
Oh,
To
Roger, you gotta
fascists. Death to fascists. I don't know.
Something like that.
Make them scared again. Remember, go out and just like.
Oh yeah. Shout out.
them.
Cheese Talk would like to give a good shout out to all the protesters currently protesting against the immigration shit that's going on.
We would, but we're too lazy.
I would, but I'm not in California. So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's awesome. That's some
It's
dope ass
solidarity,
shit.
but we're not actually out there.
Yeah, no. Shout out Cenable. I wish we could interview Cenable for Cheese Talk. That'd be amazing.
If Cenable would come on, that would be amazing.
Oh, you guys know about the little lore update? You know the amateur rappers?
Oh yeah, the
Cavor?
Professor M show.
Yeah, there's not Emtro.
The other
Emtro
guy?
is the other guy, real JB
The
Music.
My Korea guy.
Yeah. He responded. He responded.
We did.
Yeah, I got Matthew to contact him, and we might get an interview with him. Also, do you remember the Schizo account? The Schizo. Yeah. We might get an interview with her as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm not sure if we're
what
gonna
are
have
these
it on
accounts
Freedom.
you're talking about?
Weren't you there? I saw you were there for the last podcast.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, I was, but I was doing something in the background.
Oh, I see. Well, I think that concludes it.
Well, I'll go rewatch it. I'll go watch
The
it.
next Cheese Talk live stream is a very special one. We will be discussing evolution, and take that as you take that with what you
Wait,
will.
cheese talk.
Cheese Talk. So yeah, very very
So
happy
just me in the
to
comments.
introduce that. Yeah, you'll be in the live chat. Anyways, I think that'll be all right.
All right, people.
All right,
Yeah.
y'all. See y'all in the next one.
Hasta luego.
Godspeed.
Godspeed.